The crisp $20 bill in Ali's wallet felt like a lifeline, just enough for dinner and gas to last until payday. 24 hours left. His stomach growled as he walked briskly past the alley, trying to ignore the hollow-eyed man huddled against the brick wall, cardboard sign trembling in his weathered hands. Spare $5 for food? God bless. Ali quickened his pace, clutching his wallet tighter. Not today. Not when he was barely making it himself. Sir? The voice cracked like autumn leaves. Please. Ali froze mid-step. Something in that voice, desperation mixed with dignity, made him turn around. The homeless man wasn't what Ali expected. No disheveled beard or wild eyes. Just a clean-shaven face with deep wrinkles and eyes that had seen better days. His clothes were worn but tidy, as if he was fighting to maintain some semblance of normalcy. I'm sorry to bother you, the man said, his voice steadier now. I haven't eaten in 2 days. Just $5 for a sandwich, that's all I'm asking. Ali's fingers touched the 20 in his wallet, his only 20. His mind raced through calculations. No dinner tonight, a hungry drive home, maybe some ramen in the cupboard. The logical part of his brain screamed to walk away. The city was full of scammers. This could be another con. What's your name? Ali asked, surprising himself. Marcus Tillman. The man straightened slightly as if being addressed by name had restored something essential. I used to be a carpenter. Lost everything after the accident. A flash of authenticity in those words made Ali's resolve crumble. Before he could reconsider, he pulled out the 20 and held it toward Marcus. Here, get yourself something proper to eat. Marcus stared at the bill, confusion washing over his face. I only asked for 5. This is... Take it, Ali insisted, feeling a strange lightness despite knowing he'd go hungry tonight. Everyone deserves a decent meal. Instead of grabbing the money, Marcus's eyes welled up. His hand trembled as it reached forward, then stopped. You don't understand, he whispered. I haven't... No one has. His voice broke, and to Ali's shock, the man's shoulders began to shake with silent sobs. Ali stood frozen, the 20 still extended as pedestrians streamed around them, some shooting curious glances, others deliberately looking away. This wasn't the reaction he'd expected. It was just $20. Why was this man breaking down? I can't take your only money, Marcus finally said, wiping his eyes with dignity. I saw you checking your wallet. I know what it's like to count every dollar. The words hit Ali like a physical blow. How did Marcus know? Was it that obvious that Ali himself was barely scraping by? Shame and something else, respect, washed over him. Let me help you differently, Ali heard himself saying, tucking the 20 back into his wallet. Are you hungry right now? I know a place. The decision felt impulsive, reckless even, but something told Ali this encounter wasn't random. As Marcus carefully gathered his few possessions into a worn backpack, Ali sent a quick text to his roommate. Might be late. Save me some leftovers if you cook. They walked in silence for 2 blocks, an unlikely pair navigating the busy downtown streets. Ali noticed how Marcus kept a respectful distance, how his eyes remained alert, but never desperate. This wasn't a man looking for handouts. This was someone who had fallen and couldn't find his way back up. Here we are, Ali said, stopping in front of Amir's Deli. A small family-owned place where the owner still remembered Ali's name despite his infrequent visits. They make the best sandwiches in town. Marcus hesitated at the entrance, suddenly self-conscious. I don't want to cause trouble. Some places don't like... You're with me, Ali said firmly, holding the door open. The warm aroma of fresh bread and spices enveloped them as they entered. 2 specials, Amir, Ali called out, leading Marcus to a small table in the corner. The change in Marcus was immediate. In the warmth of the deli, with the promise of a hot meal, his posture relaxed slightly. He looked around with appreciation, but remained perched on the edge of his seat, as if ready to leave at the first sign he wasn't welcome. Before you continue, if you're watching on TV or phone, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment letting me know where you're watching my videos from. I want to know how far they're reaching, thank you. I was an engineer, Ali said, breaking the awkward silence. Now I'm a customer service rep. Life has a way of changing directions when you least expect it. Marcus nodded, understanding passing between them. 8 years ago, I had a 2-bedroom house, a good job, a wife. His eyes clouded. Then came the accident. Couldn't work. Couldn't pay medical bills, couldn't. He trailed off as Amir approached with 2 enormous sandwiches. On the house, Amir said with a wink to Ali. Any friend of Ali is a friend of mine. Ali started to protest but caught the look in Amir's eyes, genuine kindness with no strings attached. He nodded gratefully. Marcus stared at the food, emotion threatening to overwhelm him again. Thank you, he whispered, hands shaking slightly as he picked up the sandwich. He took a small bite, closing his eyes as he chewed slowly, savoring every morsel. Ali watched, his own hunger forgotten. In that moment, he realized how rarely he appreciated such simple pleasures. A hot meal, a safe place, someone who cared enough to listen. Tell me about the accident, Ali said quietly. Marcus set down his sandwich, a shadow crossing his face. Construction site. I was supervising a project when the scaffold collapsed. 3 stories down. He rubbed his right leg unconsciously. Shattered my hip, damaged my spine. The company's insurance fought the claim. Said I was negligent. Bitterness crept into his voice. 15 years I gave them. 15 years of perfect safety records. But when I needed them, he shook his head. My wife couldn't handle it. The medical bills, the depression, the constant pain. She left after a year. I'm sorry, Ali said, meaning it. How quickly life could unravel. How easily any of them could find themselves on the wrong side of fortune. I don't blame her, Marcus said, surprising Ali. Catherine tried. She really did. But watching someone you love turn into someone you don't recognize. He took another bite of his sandwich, chewing thoughtfully. I pushed her away. Pushed everyone away. Pride is a dangerous thing when you're falling. Ali thought about his own struggles. The student loans, the dead-end job, the constant anxiety about making rent. But he had a roof. He had friends. He had possibilities. Where do you stay now? He asked. There's a shelter on Jefferson, when they have space. Marcus's voice was matter-of-fact, devoid of self-pity. Otherwise, I find spots. Doorways. The park when weather permits. And work? With your skills? Who hires a 58-year-old carpenter with a bad back who hasn't worked in 5 years? Marcus gave a hollow laugh. I try. Day labor sometimes. Odd jobs. But without an address, a phone. He gestured at his worn clothes. Without looking the part, doors close before they open. They finished their sandwiches in contemplative silence. Ali's mind raced. He couldn't solve Marcus's problems. His own finances were hanging by a thread, but walking away now felt impossible. I have an idea, Ali said finally. My roommate works at TechCore. They're renovating their office. Nothing fancy, just some basic carpentry, painting. They've been struggling to find reliable help. He pulled out his phone. If I can get you an interview, would you be interested? Hope flickered in Marcus's eyes, quickly tempered by caution. Without an address, without proper clothes, without... One step at a time, Ali interrupted. First, let's see if they need someone with your skills. As Ali made the call, stepping outside for better reception, Marcus sat perfectly still, eyes fixed on the empty plate before him. When Ali returned, his expression gave nothing away. Tomorrow, 9 a.m. My roommate Jake will meet you at the front entrance. Ali wrote the address on a napkin. It's just a conversation, but it's a start. Marcus took the napkin with reverence. Why are you doing this? You don't know me. Ali considered the question. Why indeed? Because someone once helped me when I needed it. And because... He hesitated. Because I believe you'd do the same if our positions were reversed. For the first time, Marcus smiled. A genuine smile that transformed his weathered face. You remind me of my son, he said softly. He would be about your age now. The words hung between them, heavy with unspoken history. Ali wanted to ask, but sensed the wound was too raw. Instead, he checked his watch. The shelter on Jefferson, will they have space tonight? Marcus's smile faded. If I'm there by 7, it's first come, First served. It was nearly 6. We should go then, Allie said, standing. I'll walk with you. Outside, the evening had grown chilly. As they walked toward the shelter, Marcus's limp became more pronounced, his pace slowing. Allie matched his steps, resisting the urge to offer help that might damage the fragile dignity between them. I had a son, Marcus said abruptly, eyes fixed ahead. James. He was 19 when I had my accident. In college, studying architecture. Pride colored his voice. Smart kid, full scholarship. Allie waited, sensing there was more. When everything fell apart, he wanted to quit school, get a job to help with the bills. Marcus's voice tightened. I refused. We fought. I said terrible things, that I didn't raise him to throw away his future, that I didn't need his pity. He stopped walking, pain etched in every line of his face. My pride. Always my damned pride. What happened? Allie asked gently. He went back to school. Graduated with honors. Got a job with a firm in Seattle. Marcus resumed walking, slower now. We stopped talking. My choice, not his. I couldn't bear for him to see me like this. His successful father, reduced to... He gestured at himself. The last I heard, he was doing well, engaged to be married. Have you tried to contact him? Marcus shook his head. 5 years of silence. Why would he want to hear from me now? Besides, he added with forced lightness, what would I say? Sorry for disappearing, son. By the way, I'm homeless now. How's the architecture business? They reached the shelter just as a line was forming. Marcus took his place, turning to Allie with extended hand. Thank you, not just for the meal or the interview, for treating me like a human being. Allie shook his hand, feeling the strength still present in those carpenter's fingers. Tomorrow, 9 a.m. Don't be late. I haven't been on time for anything in years, Marcus said with a small laugh. But for this, I'll be early. As Allie turned to leave, he hesitated, then pulled out his wallet. The $20, his last 20 until payday, felt insignificant now. He pressed it into Marcus's hand. For bus fare, and maybe a coffee before the interview. This time, Marcus accepted it with dignity. I'll pay you back first thing after I get a paycheck. I know you will, Allie said, and meant it. The walk home was long, but Allie barely noticed. His mind kept returning to Marcus, to the thin line between stability and freefall. How many decisions, how many strokes of luck or misfortune separated his life from Marcus's reality? Jake was sprawled on the couch when Ali finally made it home, playing video games and surrounded by empty takeout containers. Dude, where have you been? I got Chinese. Might be some left if you're hungry. Ali collapsed beside him, suddenly exhausted. Thanks for setting up that interview tomorrow. Jake paused his game. Yeah, about that. Who is this guy? Mick said they really need help, but he's not hiring just anybody off the street. He's a carpenter. A good one. Ali rubbed his eyes. He's had a rough time, but he deserves a chance. If you say so. Jake shrugged, returning to his game. Just don't make me regret sticking my neck out, okay? Ali nodded, too tired to explain. How could he describe the connection he'd felt to Marcus? The strange certainty that helping this man mattered in ways he couldn't articulate. Sleep came fitfully that night. Ali dreamed of falling from great heights, of hands reaching out too late, of voices calling names that echoed unanswered. Morning arrived with a text from an unknown number. This is Marcus. Borrowed a phone. Will be at TechCore by 8:30. Thank you again. Ali stared at the message, relief washing over him. The first hurdle cleared. Marcus had found a way to communicate. He had survived another night. He was still fighting. I'll meet you there, Ali texted back impulsively. He would be late for his own job, but suddenly that seemed unimportant. TechCore's glass-fronted building gleamed in the morning light. Ali spotted Marcus immediately, standing straight despite his limp, wearing the same clothes, but somehow looking more presentable. He'd managed to shave, his gray hair combed neatly. You didn't have to come, Marcus said when Ali approached. I know, I wanted to. Ali gestured toward the entrance. Ready? Nervousness flickered across Marcus's face. It's been a long time since anyone took a chance on me. What if I can't do it anymore? What if the pain gets too bad? What if... One day at a time, Ali interrupted gently. That's all anyone can ask of you. That's all you can ask of yourself. Marcus took a deep breath, straightened his shoulders. One day at a time, he repeated like a mantra. Jake and a man in a button-down shirt, Mick presumably, were waiting inside. Introductions were made, hands shaken. Ali watched as Marcus transformed before his eyes, speaking confidently about his experience, asking intelligent questions about the renovation needs. The years of hardship seemed to recede, revealing the skilled professional he had once been. We can offer 20 hours a week to start, Mick said after 15 minutes of conversation. If it works out, maybe more. Pays decent, not great. Cash until we can get your paperwork sorted. Hope blazed in Marcus's eyes. I'll take it. Thank you. You won't regret it. Jake vouches for Ali. Ali vouches for you. Good enough for now. Mick checked his watch. Can you start today? Just a walkthrough, meet the team, see what we're working with. Marcus nodded, speechless with gratitude. As the three men moved toward the elevator, Ali hung back. His part in this was done. He had his own job to get to, already an hour late. Marcus turned back. You're not coming. I have to get to work, but text me later, let me know how it goes. I will. Marcus hesitated, emotion working in his face. Ali, I don't know how to thank you. You already have, Ali said simply. By showing up. By trying again. The elevator doors closed, taking Marcus up to whatever new beginning awaited him. Ali stood in the lobby a moment longer, a strange peace settling over him. $20 and a few hours of his time. Such a small investment for what felt like something momentous. Outside, the city bustled around him, thousands of lives intersecting briefly, then continuing on separate paths. Ali joined the flow, late for work but somehow feeling more purposeful than he had in months. The text came that evening. Got the job, starting tomorrow. Found a spot at a weekly rate hotel. It's a beginning. Thank you isn't enough. Ali smiled as he typed his reply. It's more than enough. One day at a time, remember? Days stretched into weeks. Ali and Marcus met occasionally for lunch. The change in the older man was remarkable. Still limping, still bearing the scars of his hard years, but standing taller, speaking with quiet confidence. The work at TechCore had expanded to 30 hours weekly. The weekly hotel had become a shared apartment with another worker. I called James, Marcus said one day over sandwiches at Amir's deli. My son. Ali set down his drink. How did it go? Hard. So many years of silence. Marcus's eyes glistened. He was angry, hurt. Asked why now after all this time. What did you tell him? The truth. That I met someone who showed me that accepting help isn't weakness. That pride had cost me too much already. Marcus smiled faintly. I told him about you. Ali felt a warmth spread through his chest. And? He's coming to visit next month. Marcus's voice trembled slightly. Said he wants to meet the person who gave his father back to him. The words hung between them, precious and fragile. Ali thought of the $20 that had started it all, a sum he'd nearly withheld out of his own financial fear. How differently this story might have unfolded. I have something for you, Marcus said, reaching into his pocket. He pulled out a small wooden box exquisitely crafted with dovetailed joints and a polished finish. Made it in the workshop after hours. It's not much, but it's beautiful, Ali said, taking the box reverently. Inside was a folded $20 bill. I told you I'd pay you back, Marcus said softly. Ali closed the box, emotion threatening to overwhelm him. Keep it. Start a savings account, for when James visits. Marcus shook his head. Already done. This is different. This is a promise. He clasped Ali's hand briefly. A promise that I'll never forget where I came from or who helped me find my way back. In that moment, sitting in a humble deli with an unlikely friend, Ali understood something profound about the nature of giving. The $20 had never been about the money. It had been about seeing Marcus, truly seeing him, when the rest of the world had trained itself to look away. We helped each other, Ali said finally. That's how it's supposed to work. Outside, the city continued its relentless pace, thousands of lives brushing past one another. How many unwritten stories waited in those brief encounters? How many transformations hovered just beyond a moment of connection, a simple act of recognition? Ali tucked the wooden box carefully into his bag. Its weight was slight, but its significance immeasurable. A reminder that sometimes the smallest gestures could bridge the greatest distances between people. If you made it this far and felt every word, don't leave without subscribing and commenting where you're watching from. If this truly touched you, give back, comment, subscribe. Come join this family with me until the next video.